Hey everyone, welcome all you CSDG candidates. Today we are going to crack one of the trickiest parts of the exam, the definitions in Article 2 of URDG 758. Now I know what you're thinking. Definitions? How boring. But trust me, by the end of this, you are going to see them in a completely new and, honestly, much more interesting way. So, here's our game plan. We're going to turn these dry, stuffy rules into a stage play that you'll actually remember on exam day. We'll meet the cast, take a look at their script, get to grips with the rules of the stage, and then wrap up with some final cues to make sure you nail it. Okay, let's dive right in and set the scene. To really get these definitions, we have to throw out all that dense legal jargon for a minute and just, well, use our imagination. That's right, we are going to treat this whole thing like a high-stakes drama. We've got characters, a script they have to follow, and some really strict rules about their performance. And why are we doing this? Because this little bit of theater is going to make these abstract ideas really stick in your head when it matters most. First things first, every play needs a cast. So let's meet our characters. Knowing who's who in a guarantee is super important. And trust me, the examiners love to ask questions about these roles. So, the official rulebook gives us this definition: the party issuing a guarantee. Okay, simple enough. But who is this person really in our drama? Let's put it this way. In our play, the guarantor is the main character with the really deep pockets. They're the one holding the checkbook, the one taking on all the financial risk. If the deal goes south, they're the one who has to pay up. Now, here's a classic that trips so many people up on the exam: the applicant versus the instructing party. They can be the same person, but their roles are totally different. The applicant, that's our lead actor, the star of the show whose performance is being guaranteed. But the instructing party, think of them as the director, whispering in the guarantor's ear from the wings, telling them, hey, issue the guarantee. So who actually walks up to the guarantor and delivers the big critical lines? Well, the rules call that person the presenter, and they can be acting for the beneficiary, that's the person hoping to get paid, or sometimes even for the applicant. In our play, the presenter is the messenger. Their one job is simple, but it is everything. Get the script, the documents, into the guarantor's hands perfectly. It's a vital role because, no messenger, no message, and no payment. Okay, on to Act 2. You can't have a play without a script, right? And in the drama of guarantees, the documents are the whole show. I mean, the words on these pages can literally decide if millions of dollars change hands. And the most important line in the entire script is the demand. Now get this, the rules are super clear that it has to be a signed document. It's not a text, not a quick email, not a phone call. It is a formal, signed piece of paper that officially tells the guarantor it's time to pay. Next up, we have the presentation. This is the actual performance. The rules define this as both the act of delivering the documents and the documents themselves. So you see, it's not just about what the script says, it's about how and when you deliver that line. And what happens if that delivery is botched? Well, that's what we call a non-complying presentation. In our play, that's like an actor flubbing their line or completely missing their cue. It gives the guarantor a perfectly good reason to say, nope, not paying, and the whole thing can just fall apart. Sometimes the main actor's big line needs a little backup. That's where the supporting statement comes in. It's a document that gives some really important context to what's going on in the main story. Yeah, think of the supporting statement as the stage directions in the script. The part written in italics? It explains why the demand is being made. For instance, it might say that the applicant failed to do what they promised in the contract. It's the proof that says, hey, we have a really good reason to be asking for this money. Now, our play isn't just chaos and improv. It has very strict rules that every single character has to follow. This is where the procedural definitions come into play, and believe me, you're going to want to know these for the exam. So you might wonder, why are the rules so obsessed with the guarantor's own records? Well, it's actually pretty smart. It's not just rules for the sake of rules, It's a practical way to keep track of important events, to keep the guarantee itself nice and simple, and to handle amounts that might go up or down without having to rewrite the whole contract. And what's really cool is how modern the rules are about what signed actually means. I mean, look at this. It's not just about putting a pen to paper anymore. It can be a stamp, a symbol, or even a verifiable electronic signature. It really shows how the rules have kept up with the way we do business today. Okay, so pop quiz. Which documents have to be signed? You got to remember this list for the exam. The big ones are the guarantee itself, any counter guarantee, the demand, and the supporting statement. Forgetting a signature on any of these is a fast track to a non-complying presentation. All right, it's time for the final act. The curtain is about to fall, so let's do a quick run-through of our final cues to make sure all of this is locked in for exam day. So what's the big takeaway? Just remember our play. Know your cast. The guarantor is the payer, the applicant is the star, and the instructing party is the director. Understand the script. The signed demand is that killer line, and the presentation is the delivery. And finally, respect the rules of the stage, like knowing that signed can mean a whole bunch of things. And I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. In our little drama, who do you think has the hardest job? Is it the guarantor, who has to interpret the script absolutely perfectly? Or is it the presenter, who has to deliver their lines without a single mistake? Really thinking about that pressure will give you a much deeper feel for how this all works in the real world. Good luck with your studies.